Yo, what is going on, guys? We are back today for a very special video. I've never made something like this before, but I've always wanted to. And I think these two champions were just so perfect because I have them both. I've played a lot with both of them. I really like both of them. And I'm kind of at a point where, you know, I find myself asking myself, which one do I think's better? Which one do I prefer? Which one do I want to rank up higher? I have these questions myself. I know a lot of other people do too, and they are similar champions, so I think this is perfect. But like I said, this is only going to be the first episode of this new series, and it doesn't have to be the same class when we're comparing, two champions. So if there's any two champions that you guys want to see future episodes on for this type of series, go ahead and let me know in the comment section down below. So as you guys can see, I've picked out a couple of categories. Now, some of these are also with on the Kabam, their attribute system, and I was reading theirs, and I don't trust theirs because I don't agree with it. I was comparing some of them, and I'm just like, I would change so many things on these, but so yeah, I'm gonna be ranking these myself, comparing Hulkling and Galan's utility, their damage. So those are going to be the two most prioritized categories. As you can see, the font size is bigger than the rest, so those are worth basically like double, think of it that way. And then survivability and defender strength aren't worth as much, but they are still important. And then I also have penny counter, because both of these characters were made with countering Penny in mind, and both do a pretty good job at it, so kind of set that up as sort of like a tiebreaker if it comes to that. So yeah, we got a lot to talk about today, and just before we get into, we'll start with utility, but before we get into that, I just want to get this point across, that the goal of this video is to not say, okay, this champion is so much better than this champion. That's not at all what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to highlight their differences, show where they work better than one another, but like they complement each other. They can't take some of the same stuff, so it's great if you have both of them together. I like running both of them in war. It's wonderful. So I think both are absolutely amazing champions. They complement each other nicely, but we are going to try to find out which one I think slightly better, or that I prefer, that one that I would rank up higher, and for why, and just like all that kind of stuff. So, the goal of this video is to learn more about both characters, highlight their differences. That is the goal, okay? Let's go ahead and get into the utility portion. All right, guys. So, first category, and one of the most important, utility. So, now, I think there's some confusion between Galan and Hulkling, because I was confused. I was unaware for a while. I had both of them, and I thought they had, like, the same immunities, essentially. I thought they both had, I knew Hulkling had, immune to poison and shock. I knew Galan had Fate Seal and Nullify. But, I thought the rest were the same. And this was just an assumption, it's like, yeah, they both counter power control. But I didn't realize that there are differences, and these differences are important, because in certain areas of the game, it's not going to work the way you want it to. So, Galan is immune to power drain and power burn. Hulkling is also immune to power drain and power burn, but then it gets a little different. So Galan is immune to power lock, but Hulkling is immune to power steal. However, being immune to power lock, Galan also has immunity to special lock, which we are seeing more of, which makes me lean a little bit towards Galan's side of those immunities, because, for example, Path 3 in Alliance War, we've seen now this special lock. The brand new infamous Iron Man, the new Iron Doctor Doom, he has a special lock as well, so it seems like Galan's going to be a really good counter to him. And so, yeah, those are the slight differences between their power manipulation immunities. And then the big differences, Fate Seal, Nullify, that's what Galan's immune to, and then Hulkling has immunity to poisons and shock at base. Now, when I first was thinking about their immunities, I thought Hulkling had the upper hand, and I thought his immunities were better. Like, if I had to pick a champion to have the immunities, like, who's would I pick? And originally it was Hulkling, because my mindset is guaranteed immunity to poison and shock, that's huge, that's really good, and that is, don't get me wrong. However, my opinion does start to change slightly. As you see, we have a countered node section. So literally what I did, and this took a very long time, I went on Aunt May, and you can click on the Quest Nodes tab, and you can see every single node in the game. And there's a search bar, which is usually what I do. I just search for whatever node I'm looking for. But I didn't do that today. I scrolled through the entire list of all the nodes in MCOC, and I wrote down all the ones that these two guys can counter. Again, took a lot of work, but it was worth it, and you guys are going to see why. But before we reveal that, let's get into some gameplay contrasting these differences in immunities, so I can show you guys really what this translates to in game. So first, we're going to go ahead and fight a Professor X. So we're not at the damage portion yet. So, this is mainly utility. My Hulkling is rank 4 here, and my 6R Galan is only rank 3. But however, once we get into damage, I play with the same rank and level 5-star version, so that we have same rank and level testing, of course, so it's not skewed. But for this fight, this was mainly shown about utility. We will look at the time that it took to take him down, but this one's mainly about utility. So against Professor X here, Hulkling is going to get special locked. As soon as he throws a special, he is at 100 of his charges. So as soon as he drops a special, we are going to get special locked, and then I just won't be able to throw any specials of my own. So here, boom, we're special locked. It is annoying. Nothing we can do about it as Hulkling. But Galan is a different story. But there we go. It's gone. Now we just need to build up to special 2, get off another one of those, and he should be dead. So I just need him to dash back, hold block. Alright, there we go. And this special 2 goes ahead and almost kills him. One more combo. There we go. 30,000 hits between the medium and lights there. And I gotta hide my webcam here, but you can see the time was 1:03. So, not bad. But then we fight the same thing with Galan. Only as a rank 3 though, remember, keep that in mind. Yeah, this is mainly just to highlight the immunity to that special lock. It is a really nice immunity. And like I said, it seems like Kabam is pushing special lock more and more. So for that reason, I think on the power side of things, I do prefer Galan's immunities. However, his immunities does have a weakness too, which I will show you guys in a sec, which kind of sucks for him. I took him in to test for a fight, and that's where I realized the real difference in their immunities. Cause I'm like, what? Galan just can't do this, but Hulkling could. And I was like, oh my god, I had no idea there was a difference in their immunities. And it really showed. So with this rotation with Galan, I like to just go for special 2 here. I like I've said in some previous videos, I fight Professor X a lot. So I literally know when it's totally okay to just hold a heavy right in front of his face. And I know that I won't get punished. But here we throw the special 1. That's the kind of the rotation I like to get. That's 137,000. I like to build up close to my special 3, and then drop a special 2, and then enter the harvest, then drop a special 1, and this huge detonation. And for I think Galan's all about bringing him to the ideal health pools. I think if you bring Galan to the right health pool, if you can just one-shot with a full build-up of his harvest, that's perfect. If he can't one-shot, then maybe that's not an ideal fight for him. But yeah, you can see, so Galan went ahead and took that fight, and he did take a little bit longer. Let's go back here. It was 1:24, but he is a rank lower, so still pretty good. And that special lock community was nice. So this is exactly what happened. So I was in Abyss, and I was like, I was messing around with Galan. I was like, I'm gonna go solo Abyss Iron Man Infinity War with Galan, because he gains armors. Galan's really good against champions that gain armor because it just fuels his planetary mass. So I'm like, okay, this will be perfect. So as you can see, Hulkling, he's great for Abyss. I mean, not great for it, but he can do it. He doesn't get his power taken away from the abyssal specific node that Iron Man, or mainly the tech champions, have in Abyss. Once those tech charges reach 10, this happens. It's power steal. So remember, Galan's not immune to power steal. He's immune to the power lock. But Hulkling is immune to power steal. So in Abyss, you can see Hulkling definitely has a big upper hand. So here, this is a rank 4 Apocalypse in Alliance War. It's very stacked nodes. This has Aspect of Evolution, Burden of Might. So every time you gain a buff and then you lose the buff, you're going to get your power taken away. And then there's EMP modification as well. So every time you gain a buff, Apocalypse here is going to gain a passive EMP modification charge. And then once he throws a special attack, he's going to throw all those EMP charges onto you in the form of passive shock damage. Now, Galan could not do this fight. Those shocks would kill him. Hulkling, however, he's immune to the shocks. It actually just gives him full shape-shifting charges. And he's also immune to the Burden of Might. He can't have his power stolen. And Hulkling does have some nice utility that every time he translates one of his shape-shifting charges into a buff, he gains a little bit of power. He does have a 20% reduced combative power rate, but this power gain through the shape-shifting to buffs does definitely help, and it's really nice. So that's some pretty sick utility from Hulkling. But then we have this fight here. This is again an Alliance War. I recently showed this in my Galan War video. And this is a Man-Thing with Masochism, some other nodes. It's got like 18 passive Furies right now, just super stacked. We've been in here for already a minute and a bit. Here we get parried, which wouldn't have happened if we were awakened. But we end up dropping the special 2 here and just rinsed a Man-Thing. A Mystic Champion, a really annoying to fight Mystic Champion. And why can we do this? We don't take any poisons from this guy. The poison damage I did take was from suicides. But because we're immune to Nullify, his pustules that he applies on us never get transformed into poison. So, yeah, Galan's immunity to Fate Seal and Nullify is massive. It lets him take on colossal Mystic fights like this. So each champion definitely has some really solid utility. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at the nodes that these two counter. So, let me actually hide my face cam as well so you guys can really take a look here. So, countered node. Let's go ahead and reveal. As you can see, there is a lot more text for Galan. So, let's go over what Hulkling can counter. So, like I said, originally, these immunities, I thought, Hulkling had the upper hand. It allows him to counter stuff like Caustic Temper, where there's a poison placed on you, and you can only really do damage if you have a Fury. Hulkling can crush that. Any Shock node, any Poison node, there are different variants. There's like Shock 30, Shock 60, and then there's just like a generic Poison node. So any combination of Shock or Poison nodes, Hulkling's going to be countering, and he's going to be all good for. EMP modification included, all good for. And then, so those are like the nodes Hulkling counters. Then he has 3 more nodes that he counters, and that's Plagued Mind, Static Blast, and Use It or Lose It. But Galan also counters those 3 nodes. And Galan can't counter Caustic Temper, Shock, or Poison nodes, but let me tell you what he can counter. Pilfer Regen. This is a 30% chance for your buffs to just get nullified, and then the defender gets power gain. Galan's immune to that. Buffet. Your buffs get nullified, and the opponent gains regen. Galan's immune to that. Shatter. This is something to do with nullify. Galan's immune to that. Power Snack. Again, nullify, the opponent gets power. Galan's immune to that. Can't Stop, Won't Stop. Galan gets a nice unstoppable effect when he is in the Harvest, so he can counter that. Null Gain, I'd never heard of this node, but it applies a special lock, so Galan's immune to that. Plagued Mind, him and Hulkling both immune to that. Power Play, this applies a Fate Seal or something, I think. Galan's immune to that. Safeguard and Rage. These have damage caps, so you can only deal damage 1% or 2.5% with Rage or Safeguard. But Galan, his big planetary mass damage that he gets off, can totally get around that damage caps, so he can counter those nodes. Quantum Control, this was a node where you needed to build up some charges to be able to not be nullified. But Galan doesn't care, and he's just immune to nullify, and he can do whatever he wants there. Special Lock 1, Special Lock 2, these nodes, Galan's totally immune to them. Static Blast, and Use or Lose It, Hulkling's immune to those as well. Just power taking away nodes, power drain nodes, so immune to that. And then also Tough as Nails. So Tough as Nails and any other node that's going to basically give the defender armor ups, that's huge for Galan. He can just get a lot more planetary mass, and then just nukes them extremely quick. So as you guys can see, they both have solid immunities, both have great utility, but Galan can just do so much more. And I think it's just the meta. The meta right now is Galan's made for the meta. Having this combination of power immunities plus nullify immunities is something I don't think we've ever seen before, and it is quite the combination, especially on a cosmic champion. So I got to give the edge to utility here to Galan. There's just so much more that he can counter. If you look like in Alliance War, you look at the nodes, there's so many more pro Galan nodes than there are pro Hulkling nodes. The fight that I showed you against that Apocalypse with the EMP modification and everything, that fight was literally perfect for Hulkling. But there's only one fight like that on the whole map. Like, it's not common. These shock nodes, these shock lanes, they're not common. They're very uncommon. But this other stuff with nullifying buffs and stuff, that is extremely common. And so that, I think those immunities are a lot more relevant right now. So gotta give the edge and utility to Galan on this one. Let's go ahead and move on to the next section, which is damage. Alright guys, so now let's get into the damage portion of this video. Obviously, utility and damage, two of the most important things when we're talking about a character. And both of these characters have extremely great damage. Both of them deal really good damage, okay? Let's talk about how they deal this damage, and then once we get into some gameplay, we'll talk about their rotation a little bit, which one I prefer, the optimal rotations, that sort of thing. Yeah, alright, so let's go ahead and start with Galan. So Galan has low damage on his basic combos and his special attacks. None of these are really going to be hitting very hard. You're not going to see anything impressive. He has decent incinerate damage over time on his special 2 in the harvest if he uses it. If he uses it outside the harvest, it's meh, super mid. But in the harvest, yeah, you get like 9 incinerates. They do some decent damage. It's decent. You know, so far, Galan's damage not sound very good. But this whole time where you're doing low damage, you're building up your planetary mass. You're building up your damage. So then once you get that off, you just get massive direct damage, which bypasses damage caps. So, you know, Labyrinth of Legends, Safeguard, Rage, all these annoying areas where, you know, you have a champion that has super hard-hitting specials, but you just see damage caps. You'll never have to worry about that with Galan. He'll never hit the damage caps on his basic attacks. And when he gets his big damage off, it's going to bypass it. So you're good. And so in other words, guaranteed damage, which is really nice. And like I said, it's great damage too. So Galan's damage, phenomenal. Now Hulkling's damage. His is very different, but still really good. So Hulkling hits hard. He has hard-hitting regular combos, but he does have a low crit rate, which is annoying, but he hits so hard that it doesn't really matter. He has massive Furies on his special 2, increasing his attack by a lot. You get 1 guaranteed, and then if the fight allows it, which 95% of matchups should be allowing it, you just hit into their block a couple times, get an unblockable buff, then throw your special 2, and then you get an extra Fury, so it's just increases your attack even more. And every time you're hitting into those blocks, you're getting Pierce buffs, which increases your block penetration. And when you pair this block penetration, even the block penetration on its own, with no Furies, hits pretty hard through the block. Then when you pair that with the Furies, you just get massive block damage. It's crazy. Crazy. So a very unique way to deal damage there for Hulkling. This obviously makes him an incredible Penny Parker counter, being able to lower her shield down in like less than a 5-hit combo. So both these characters have different ways to get damage, but it's great. It's really great damage. So in the middle there, I do have a sign pointing to which damage I think wins. So we'll show that in a bit, but let's go ahead and do a gameplay to compare. So we have 5-star rank 5 versions now of both of these characters, and we're going to take on Realm of Legends Captain Marvel, you know, keeping with the cosmic theme today. And we're going to see which one of these two characters can take her down faster. So with Galan's rotation, basically the bread and butter here is just 3-hit combos. That's going to be the most efficient way to build him up, because with each of those hits, you're gaining a new buff. It's like using Human Torch. You know, if you just do 5-hit combos, you're not going to be applying incinerates on all of those 5 hits. So you just do 3 hits where you are going to be applying those incinerates. It's the same thing. So yeah, I like to build up like close to a special 3, draw my special 2, then I get those blue buffs next to the physical resistance. Those are intensity buffs, which increase the potency of all of the following buffs. So you see how I triggered that, and then I went into the harvest. So my regeneration buff actually has an increased potency right now. It was taken for like 72. And yeah, you can see I'm just chilling at full health. So if you do this rotation, you can actually get a fatter regen, which is nice. The regen is minuscule, but you can, if you squeeze out like every drop, you can get like 9% out of it, 9% health. And that was on a regen that wasn't enhanced with those intensify buffs. So yeah, that is interesting. So here, just going to do the same rotation again. I like this rotation. You don't have to do it, but it's nice. You can also throw the special 2 when you're in harvest, like I said, to get more incinerates. But it's really nice to just be throwing the special 1 in harvest, because you see we have 20 physical resistance and 20 energy resistant buffs right now. And as soon as we throw our special 1, we're going to convert all of those into planetary mass. Each one converts for like 5. So you see we maxed it out there. We were at 999. That was the biggest detonation we were going to get from this 5-star version. And this is the rotation. It's very simple. It's very easy. It's very quick. It's very powerful. We're hitting so hard. We're unstoppable. We're regenning any like of this block damage that we happen to be taking. And it's incredible. It's an incredible rotation. Here I was hoping this final rotation would kill her, but it doesn't quite, so we actually have to end up doing a couple combos. The fight should have ended right here, but it ends up taking an unnecessary amount of extra time. Get hit, and she just won't die. That was like an extra 20 seconds there. That's gonna set us back a bit. That is definitely gonna be setting us back a bit. If we take a look at the time, that was 2 minutes 28 seconds. That's definitely going to set us back a bit. But that's the rotation. So I don't think these are like ideal fights to be testing and comparing Galan in. But I am trying to see which one like has the higher damage output here. So it's fine. But I do think Galan, he's more meant, like I said earlier, you want to be able to one-shot the fight. You want to be able to build to full or close to full max planetary mass. So like 800-900 we're talking. And once you get that off, that should just kill the opponent. If that's not killing the opponent, then maybe Galan wasn't perfect for that matchup. I think his ideal matchups is just matchups that he can just nuke in one rotation. And you might be thinking like that's a little unrealistic, but it's not. In anywhere reasonable, like anywhere in Alliance War that's not a mini boss or a boss fight, one rotation on a rank 4 Galan fully built up would kill them. So like any regular war fight is enough damage to nuke them down. Even mini bosses, probably enough on most of them. Maybe it's like some super high health mini bosses like Man Thing, maybe not. But I just saw earlier in the video we did one shot that one Man Thing. He was only rank 3, but my Galan was also only rank 3, so it was fair. But Galan, Hulkling, he's fine in short fights, in medium fights, in long fights. Like Hulkling doesn't really care. He's good in pretty much all duration fights. But I'd say Galan, his bread and butter is the medium fights. You don't want the fight to be too short so that you can't really build up, and you don't want it to be too long so that you have to build up multiple times. You just want the fight to be just the right length. Medium length fights I'd say are perfect for Galan. But shorter to longer fights, I would probably favor Hulkling. So we had 228 with Galan, and with Hulkling we have, let's go ahead and take a look here, minute 44. So he kind of blew Galan out of the water there. I'd say Galan got like 2 minutes 8 seconds. Like that third rotation should have just killed. I could have built him up a little bit more. This was just my first run with like both of them, so just wanted to not get like staggered results. Just one run, see what happens. So yeah, let's go take a look at the damage now. And as you guys can see, I have an equal sign. I don't think either one is better damage-wise. I think they're the same. And I think they're both really, really powerful damage-wise. I think they're equal. So I think it comes down to Hulkling clearly has higher damage output. He can output more damage. But Galan has a better source of damage. That's from my testing, playing with these characters a lot. That's what I found. I found that, Galan doesn't do quite as much damage, but his damage is just so much better. It can get around damage caps. It's guaranteed damage. Doesn't matter if you crit or not. Like, I just love it. But you can't deny that Hulkling does have more. So honestly, I think it's pretty even. I think it's pretty even on the damage. Both have really great damage, really great access to damage, and really unique ways to get the damage. I just think it's hard to say one is better than the other because they're just different, and there's strengths and weaknesses to both. So I really just think it's pretty even here. And I wrote here, Hulkling overall has slightly higher damage output, but Galan has a superior damage source. And that's what I think. So damage, gonna call this one a tie. Let's go ahead and move on to survivability and defender strength. Yo, what's up guys? We're back now for survivability and defender strength. So what makes these two guys annoying to fight, and why are they surviving fights? Let's go ahead and start with Galan. So in the Harvest, Galan has Unstoppable, which can be a very nice defensive ability and can be annoying to fight, especially paired with a champion that is immune to Nullify. But Neutralize can get around it, although there are not a ton of Neutralize counters currently in the game. And it's looking like now if there's a Force of Will node or something, then maybe that wouldn't even work either with the recent change to ability accuracy and Neutralize. Who knows? And then once the Harvest ends, he deals direct damage based on how much planetary mass he had. But this is cut in half while on defense, and it only scales with his base attack. I think Galan has a very high potential as a defender if given new and unique nodes. So what does that mean? I think we're going to see Galan as a boss in future quests, maybe an alliance quest. Who knows? But I think we're going to see him, and I think Kabam is going to develop some maybe new nodes or maybe Galan specific nodes, and I think that's going to make Galan a very difficult to fight boss type of champion. But yeah, okay, and we won't say anymore. Let's talk about Hulkling next. So very high block damage. If this character's hitting your block and he has any shape-shifting charges, he's going to get pierce buffs. The more pierce buffs he has, the more block penetration he's going to have. So more block damage. So you really don't want to block too much against Hulkling. He also has regeneration buffs, which heal 65% of damage taken, which is huge. That's a lot. He also has indestructible and unblockable buffs, and these can go passive if they get nullified. So Hulkling was kind of the first Cosmic Champion to have, some type of, counter to nullify, which is weird, and a first for the class. And then Galan comes out, and boom, he's straight up immune to nullify. But, this was kind of like a pseudo type immunity to nullify. The unfortunate thing, it would be nice if that worked for all of his buffs, but no, it's only the indestructible and unblockable, which on attack, these buffs, you'll probably never see your indestructible buff, and, the unblockable one, yeah, that'd be nice if that happened to get nullified and it turns passive. But on a defense, that's where these abilities are extremely annoying, and the fact that if you nullify them, they just become passive makes it even more annoying. So I think Hulkling can be extremely annoying to fight and very tanky with the regen. Now, I was thinking, how am I supposed to figure out, which one of these guys is, more tanky, more survivable, better defender? I was like, you know what? Let me jump into Realm of Legends and just throw an auto fight and see what happens. So let's go ahead. This is going to take a while. Let's go ahead and skip in. We're going to skip 2 minutes into this fight. Okay, so Galan has been fighting on auto fight for 2 minutes here. We got a 5-star, maxed out rank 5. We're going to be comparing him and Hulkling at the same rank, same level, same everything. So this is 2 minutes into Realm of Legends Winter Soldier. Okay. Is that 69%? I didn't even, that's funny. So yeah, he's doing a good job. He definitely is fairly tanky, but as you can see, we're about to die. And so this is just this was my first attempt. It's auto fight, first auto fight run. That's what we got. Is the total recordings around 2 minutes 40 seconds. Okay, 2 minutes 40 seconds. All right, let's skip ahead. Hulkling. Let's skip to 2 minutes and 40 seconds into this fight. Okay. All right, boom. This is the 2 minute 40 second mark. Hulkling still has a quarter of his health. He's still kicking. He's already taken off more than Galan has, and he's still going strong. He is still going strong. Look at this. He's got double furies. That means he threw his special when he was unblockable. Let's go. The big brain AI. But man, you can see he's just regenning up. He also has that indestructible, so you can see if I get hit one more time, I'm going to go indestructible, which is a really nice ability. Nice, he's throwing that special too, getting the fury. For the first start of this fight, I was kind of like watching, and he wasn't throwing special 2s. He was going for like special 1s and 3s, which is interesting. Here you can see there's that indestructible buff triggering. It's very short, but if it does get nullified, you know, then it would be longer and it would become a passive. But yeah, man, like literally, we skipped to the point in the fight where Galan was already dead, and as you can see, we're still going. We are still going. Let's skip ahead a little bit more after the special 3. He's going unblockable. Right here you see we eat a special, but boom, that indestructible comes at a perfect time. We negate pretty much all that damage, and that's what makes Hulkling very annoying to fight. Plus, you can see those regens. We just keep healing up this whole time. So, survivability, that's huge. We're surviving. We are surviving, and here I finally die. Unfortunately, auto fight didn't show like the stats at the end, but this recording was 4 minutes and 30 seconds. So I think this one is a no-brainer. Hulkling, easily the superior defender, the superior survivability. Again, until Galan gets like special treatment from Kabam. If Galan gets special like boss type treatment, then I think, yeah, sure, he can be a really crazy defender. But right now, just as is, like, in Battlegrounds, I think of Hulkling as a far and above superior defender to Galan. That was a massive reason why I wanted Hulkling, and I took him to rank 4, was for Battlegrounds. Once Battlegrounds comes out, I'm going to be placing Hulkling on defense a fair bit, dude, and I think he's going to do pretty good. Yeah, just baseline defender strength, I think Hulkling all day. I find Hulkling way more annoying to fight. Alright guys, so I told you that I find Hulkling way more annoying to fight. I just don't want you to take that at face value. I want to show you. You might be thinking like, oh, that was kind of skewed, you know, a Hulkling regenning. Of course he's going to survive longer than Galan. Okay, sure. Let's go ahead and fight these champions on even footing. I'm going to use a 3-star Nick Fury against the maxed out 5-star Galan. Then use the same champion against Hulkling. Let's compare those fights. Because like I said, I find Hulkling way more annoying to fight. Is that just me? Let's see. Let's show you what I'm talking about. So we're in here with Nick Fury. I have no deep wounds on right now. We're just fighting this Galan. We're not making too much of a dent. But we're trying. We're knocking him down. I'm not the greatest at evading his specials either. That is the one thing I will say, that Galan's specials are definitely harder to evade than Hulkling's. And right there you see we just lost our first life. So that's unfortunate because the harvest expired. You know, if I wasn't using a 3-star against a 5-star, you know, I would have lost some health, but it wouldn't have been that severe. I would have probably still been alive. And here we get even lower. But I'm going to go ahead and throw the special 2 here. Now we're hitting pretty hard as well. And we're going to be able to take this Galan down with Nick Fury here. Just barely. It was sketchy. I'm not trying to say that Galan is a bad defender. I think he is a good defender. I think he has a lot of potential on defense. But you see, we took him down still, right? We took him down. Now, let's go test against my Hulkling. 3-star Nick Fury. Same deal. And let's see if we can take him down. This will be a fair and good comparison. Same champions, you know, same levels, same everything, same masteries, same guy doing the fights, me. Okay. So again, no deep wounds or anything here. And so I do this Hulkling fight. I'm not gonna say perfect, but what I do in this Hulkling fight is I never let him throw a special 1. And that's one of the most annoying things when fighting Hulkling, is if he gets off a special 1. Because then his shape-shifting charges just goes nuts. It'll just race up to max. And then every time you hit him, he's going to be getting more regen, more indestructible. If he hits your block, he's going to get more pierce. You can see I've already died my first health pretty much just to block damage, which is crazy. You can see that parry just did 2100 damage. It's ridiculous. It's so much damage. And like I said, I haven't even let him throw off a special 1. So I'm managing the shape-shifting charges pretty decent. I just hit a nice intercept. But still, even without him throwing a special, I'm dead. Like, honestly, I think Hulkling is such a crazy defender, dude. It's nuts. So I think Hulkling, clear winner in this category. Clear. For now. Like I said, Galan has potential, but Hulkling is just so annoying to fight. There, you've seen it for yourself. let's go ahead and take a look at the standings right now. All right, guys. So it's pretty much perfectly tied right now. I think Galan's got the utility. Hulkling and Galan tie under the damage, and then Hulkling just takes it home with no problem in survivability and defender strength. But like I said, those were worth less, so the utility is worth double. So it's pretty much perfectly tied right now. So it all comes down to the tiebreaker, the Penny Parker counter. Which one of these two champions can counter Penny Parker better? All right, we're gonna have an old-fashioned showdown. We're gonna go ahead and take on my big scary 6-star rank 3 Penny Parker with lower rank versions of these guys, and we're gonna do it old Kabam tournament style. Whoever does it faster is gonna get the tiebreaker. Okay, so let's start with Galan. With Hulkling. I thought Hulkling was literally the perfect Penny Parker counter. I thought he was just so good. Going into this video, I thought Hulkling by far the superior Penny Parker counter. Not that Galan's bad, it's just Hulkling was literally the first champ made to counter Penny. But Galan's made to counter her too, so we'll have to see. But so far, off to a pretty good start against this Penny. We broke her shield. Perfect, she's blocking. Perfect, throw my special 2. She's dead. Okay, what do we got? Actually, let's not even check. We'll wait to see at the end how fast that was. Let's go ahead, do it again. 1 run each, just straight up, in a row, back to back. No running it back, just 1 run. Okay, same player. All right, Galan versus Penny. Let's go. So going to be going for 3 hit combos, the optimal route to play. Building up. As you can see, Hulkling is much better at taking down her sync shield. He can do it easily and very quick. Whereas Galan, he doesn't really worry about the sync shield. It doesn't really matter for him. So here it's up, but I want to get auto blocked. So I want her to auto block me. Good, there we go. It's feeding me more charges. Boom, she just gave me a ton. Boom, I'm at 980, almost max charges. She's dead, 70,000 damage. That was overkill. See, so for example, in that matchup there, Galan did more damage than Hulkling. But when you see those longer matchups, Hulkling, kind of takes off in damage eventually. But all right, let's go ahead and see which one of these guys killed that Penny Parker faster. All right, let's go ahead and take a look. Okay, so Hulkling, 29 seconds. Hulkling killed that Penny Parker in 29 seconds. Okay, and Galan, 29 seconds too, man. What? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? It's a perfect tie, guys. It's literally a perfect tie. These characters are so equal. They're so equal. They're so even. It's insane, man. They complement each other. But, wow. It's like dead even. Alright, guys. So, we need to figure out... We can't just let this end in a tie. I need to pick someone. So, I will pick someone at the end. But what I wanted to look at first was... Now that we've come to the conclusion in all of these different fields, so we have utility, the edge going to Galan, damage, a perfect tie, survivability and defender strength, the edge going to Hulkling, and Penny Parker, a perfect tie. So let's compare this to Kabam's attributes that they gave these characters and see how mine and theirs compare to each other. So for survivability, Galan had a higher rating. What? How? Literally, Hulkling can survive for twice the amount of time, just almost twice the amount of time on auto fight against Roman Legends Winter Soldier. If that doesn't speak for survivability, I don't know what does. Next up, damage. Perfect tie. So I was actually really happy to see this. Kabam put their damage as a 4. I honestly agree with that. I would give both of them a 4.5. Maybe I'd give... I don't know. Yeah, like I said, Hulkling has a higher damage output, but Galan has a better damage source. So I agree on the tie. I came to that same conclusion. Ease of use, I don't really care about that. Utility. So, Hulkling has higher utility than Galan, according to Kabam in their attributes. Hard disagree, although I understand this viewpoint because I kind of thought that at first too, but once I really dove into Aunt May and looked at every single node in the game, Galan wins utility, no problem. And currently, with the way the game is, the current meta of nodes, and the way the game works, Galan has way more utility than Hulkling, in my opinion, especially in an area like Alliance War, and just the content that we've seen lately. So yeah, hard disagree with Kabam on that one, but I do understand the confusion on that one. I had the same thought process at the start, but then I did my homework and I figured it out for myself. And then we have defender strength. Again, Kabam gave Galan a 3.5 and Hulkling a 3 in defender strength. Again, I don't know, not at all. I think Hulkling is way more annoying to fight, a far superior defender at base. So yeah, I think unless Kabam makes some hyper specific nodes for Galan to really beef him up as like a crazy boss in some quest, like just as baseline defenders, I think Hulkling is far more annoying, like by a lot. So yeah, I think it's really interesting to take a look at these attributes after I really dove in, see if I can really agree or disagree. And yeah, so now let's go ahead and decide one or the other, Galan or Hulkling. Which one, like for example, am I taking to rank 5? All right, guys. So in conclusion, I think Galan slightly the superior attacker, Hulkling a good amount the superior defender, but both champions overall are just absolutely incredible on attack, defense, all around abilities, prestige. Hulkling's prestige isn't bad, but Galan's is about top 10 right now within the rank 4s. So for that reason, and just the drip that Galan has, man, like he literally has a staff that has planets on it. Like, it doesn't get more cool than that. So I think for me personally, Galan's going to be the one that I stick to a bit more. I mean, I already have Hulkling at rank 4 and Galan at rank 3. Galan will be my next rank 4. And then very quite possibly my first ever rank 5 champion. So very, very excited for that, guys. Let me know what you thought of this video. A lot of time and effort went into this one. So it would really just mean a lot if you could just drop a like. Just do that and you'll seriously make my day. And also drop a comment. Let me know if you like this video, any feedback going forward, positive or negative. I appreciate it. Just be nice about it. And if there's 2 other champions that you guys want to see me do this type of video on in the future, just let me know who you want to see. And yeah, let's get into it. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I definitely do want to make more. I had a really fun time making it. Something very different than the normal content. And yeah, guys, that's gonna do it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Have a great day. Peace out, guys.